on. It's my fault. It's not on. Well, guys, we are so glad to have each and every one of you here tonight. It has been too long since we've seen so many of you. I mean, some of you went to Snowbird. Who went to Snowbird? Yes, awesome. Snowbird was such a good time. We were so glad to hang out with you guys last weekend, but we are glad to be back here. And I know it's totally different. Usually it's a huge crowd right here, but it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be a little bit different, but it's gonna be okay because we get to worship tonight. And so we're so excited. COVID's brought a lot of changes, but we're just happy to be with you guys tonight. But enough of me, let's get Austin out here so we can play a game.
Can y'all please get a little louder than that? Come on, we're back, we're back. All right, well, for those of you who don't know, this is the best part of the evening because we get to play some games and somebody's gonna win a gift card. So I've got two people pre-picked over here. These two girls are gonna come on and my boy AJ Shelton's gonna help me out. And let me give you a quick backstory. So these two girls last weekend at Snowbird told me they had never played the game. So I said, all right, week one, you got it. And they're a little hesitant, but I know you guys are gonna show them some love right now and encourage them maybe a little bit. AJ, you can hold this. And girls, I gotta show you what we're playing for tonight because it's something a little special. Can you hold this up for me, please? No, undo the shirt. There we go. This is a, flip it around, please. This is a Tucker Hall original. Tucker Hall has been in this shirt, and the winner can get it because when he left the shirt, and if it's here for more than 2 weeks, it becomes ours. And I'm totally kidding because you don't seem pumped about that. No, but this really is Tucker's shirt. I'm gonna give it back to him. But you guys are playing for a gift card tonight. So AJ, I'm gonna need you to come in and stay right between these girls. Now here's how this is gonna work. You will take a ping pong ball, you're gonna bounce it, and you catch it in that cup. Do not take the ball out of the cup. Instead, you take one from the bottom, stack it in there, get another ball, and you keep going, okay? But you're cheating. Stop cheating. And you're definitely cheating. And so I'm gonna give you 30 seconds and we're gonna see who can do this the most. Grab what first? What do you mean grab one first? You gotta grab a ball to play the game. What do you? Oh yeah, go ahead and get a ball. I don't care. All right, so I'm gonna give you 30 seconds. And whoever gets the most is gonna get a gift card. Does that sound cool? Now I need you guys to encourage them, okay? Y'all can't be sitting out there all awkward because normally y'all are all right here and you're getting hype and we can't do that, okay? So you gotta get hype from out there, okay? So can I get the timer? Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? Sure. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, that was terrible. Isabel told me she was really good at this game. Come on, Miranda. Can y'all please cheer them on better than that? My goodness. Y'all act like y'all ain't hyped to be back. Come on, come on. She's got 2, she's got 3. She got 3, she got 4. Come on, Miranda. Uh-oh. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What do you got? You got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, Isabel got 5. Y'all give it up for Isabel Dollar. First time up here, Isabel, and you knocked it out of the park. Hey, look, I got you a nice little Chick-fil-A gift card. I know you like Chick-fil-A. Everybody loves Chick-fil-A. It's God's chicken. And so you guys go ahead and take a seat. That was awesome. Thank you so much. So you guys can take a seat. You will take that with you, AJ? You take it with you, buddy. All right, so give it up for them again. Hype them up. That was awesome. All right, we're gonna head back into worship, or we're gonna start worship. We didn't ever start. We're gonna go into worship now, but go ahead, stand up, throw some air fives, maybe some actual high fives. I don't know. Do whatever you feel comfortable with.
Hey, Kalai, can we make some noise tonight? Come on, can we make some noise for Jesus Christ? We need no other hiding place. Our hope is safe within your name. Yes, we know. Yes, we know. Promise never to forsake what you began. know, yes, we know. I will call upon the Lord, for He alone is strong enough to save. Rise, your shackles are no more, for Jesus Christ has broken every chain. Put your hands together. All of the heavens and the earth announce the fullness of your word. Yes, we know. Yes, we know. And every enemy would flee. 'Cause we declare the victory. This we know. This we know. I will call upon the Lord, for He alone is strong enough to save. Rise, your shackles on. I see you, I see you. Jesus Christ has broken every chain. Now, Collide, I don't know if this is new for some of you all. We got some new people in here, but we like to go crazy, so can we make some noise? Jesus, a name will break every stronghold. Freedom is ours when we call His name. Jesus, a name above every other. All hail the power of. Let's sing it again. Oh, Jesus, a name will break every stronghold. Freedom is ours when we call His name. Jesus, a name above every other. All hail the power of Jesus' name. All hail the power of Jesus' name. I will call upon the Lord, for He alone is strong enough to save. Rise, your shackles are no more, for Jesus Christ has broken every chain. He's broken every chain. He's broken every chain. I will call upon the name.
Come on, guys, let's make some noise. Well, we are so excited to be back with you. We want to teach you guys a new song tonight. It's called In Rhythm, and it's about our hearts being in rhythm with Jesus. It's an upbeat song. It's really fun. So we want to teach you guys the bridge before we go into it. All right, guys, you want to help me sing this?
Let's do it.
All of my days I give.
my praise,
All of my days is for you. You guys sing. Come on.
Ooh, all of my days I'll give. My praise, all of my days are for you.
I think we should try that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on, can we do like a life check real quick and just see if they are?
If they're alive?
Let me see
if
something.
they're moving?
Where is this left side? See, the left side is usually the most turned. We're gonna see what's going on the left side. Left side, make some noise. Okay, they're here.
I mean, that was good.
They're here.
All right,
Can you
what
check
about
on this
my
right side for us?
side? All right, this includes you guys too. So let me hear you guys. Let's hear it.
I don't know left side. They're trying to.
Left side was a little bit better.
Maybe the
Sorry,
middle.
Right side.
Maybe the middle can outdo everybody.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's try it. Middle side, where you at? Okay, that was cute. That was cute. All right, that was cute. Let's do it one more
Yeah,
time
I
because
think
I
so.
think they still don't
All
get
right,
it.
we
Left
sing,
side,
you
make some
sing.
noise.
Woo!
Hey.
All right, right side, make some noise.
Okay. Middle, y'all gotta make up for the last time. They talking about y'all in the back. All right. Middle, make some noise. Okay. All right. Improvement. Okay. Let's try that again.
All right, guys, let's hit it.
1,
You guys
2,
sing this with us.
3. All of my days I'll give my praise, my praise.
All of my days are for you. You.
All of my days I'll give my praise, my praise. All of
My days are for you. You're with me in the morning. You're with me in the night. Your love will never leave me aside. I'll praise you in the darkness. I'll praise you in the light. 'Cause when I'm living for you, I'm living my best life. I will glorify you forever. 'Cause your love gets better with time. With all my heart, I'll seek you forever. You're the only one I wanna find. You won't stop chasing me with your love, me with your love. So my heart accepts your pursuit. I will surrender the rest of my days to follow your ways. My heart in rhythm with you. The heart of the Father, the glory of the King. The power of the Spirit is moving within me. I'm living in your freedom. I'm living in your peace. I'm living in the presence and shadow of your wings. I will glorify you forever. 'Cause your love gets better with time. With all my heart, I'll seek you forever. You're the only one I wanna find. You won't stop chasing me with your love, me with your love. So my heart accepts your pursuit. I will surrender the rest of my days to follow your ways. My heart's in rhythm with you.
I'll give you praise, you praise. All of my days is for you.
Come on, sing this out, guys.
Ooh, all of my days I'll give my praise, my praise. All of my days are for you.
Come on, keep singing it. Just all of my days I'll give
My praise, my praise. All of my days are for you.
Oh, you won't stop chasing me with your love,
Me with your love.
so my heart accepts your pursuit. I will surrender the rest of my days to follow your ways. My heart's in rhythm with you. Sing it again. All of my days I'll give
My praise, my praise.
all of my days are for you.
We love you, God. And tonight, we come to you in praise, expecting greater things. Come on, let's expect greater things tonight from you, God. My life is built on your faithfulness. My hope is held in your promises. I take each step in your confidence, 'cause I am yours. I am yours. You never fail. You never will. I trust your name for greater things. You will come through. You always do. I trust your tonight as we sing, I pray over Collide Ministry. I pray over every student that's in here tonight. If they don't know Jesus, I ask that he comes into their heart, comes into their lives, God, whether it's through a leader, a family member, a friend, a situation. Show yourself to the students tonight. Allow them to know that you're real. God is real. God is so real. And we expect greater things tonight. Can we just lift up a shout of praise to him tonight? I will not fear, for you are with me. I've seen this fight from the victory. No power of hell can stand against me. 'Cause I've seen this fight from the victory. I will not fear, you were with me. 'Cause I've seen this fight from the victory. You never fail, you never will. I trust your name for greater things. You will come, you always do. I trust your name for greater things. For greater things. And you never fail. Greater things. Come on, let's sing it again to him tonight. You never fail. You never will. I trust your name for greater things. You will come. You always do. I trust your name for greater things. God, we thank you for greater things in advance tonight. God, allow the speaker to just operate up under your presence and up under your anointing. That people will hear from you. People will be healed. Hurt will be taken away. Joy will be restored. I thank you for Collide. I thank you for this ministry and every person in this building tonight. We praise you. We love you. And if you love him tonight, everybody say amen. You may have a seat.
What is up, everybody? Coming in hot. Well, again, so glad to have you guys here. It has been awesome hearing you guys worship. I know it's really different because we're not all up here, so that part is weird. But again, we are so glad to be here. Obviously, you all experienced COVID because school ended abruptly, right, in March. And so you guys all got to spend a little bit more time at home, correct? Your parents were probably home. And so you spend a lot of time with this thing we call family, right? And family for each of us is a little bit different. Some of you absolutely love your family, and some of you not so much, but don't raise your hands on that. But family is everything, and everyone's family is really different. And when I think about my family, I look back, and my family consists of 5 people. I have a mom and I have a dad, and then I have 2 sisters and, of course, me. And my sisters are both younger than me. Kimberly, she's 3 years younger than me, and then Stephanie is 6 years younger than me. And I remember growing up, my dad, he was in the Air Force, so we traveled, we moved from place to place. This was our final destination. This is where he ended up retiring. And we traveled a lot, though. That was one thing. My parents did give us a lot of experiences. Like when we moved across country, we didn't just like go from point A to point B. Like we went and saw all the different sites. We went to all the different places. We went on a lot of different vacations. And so like growing up, like it was fun. But one thing I do remember is like being the only boy. Like yes, I had a dad, but like being the Air Force stuff, he went on TDY. He would go overseas. And being home with my sisters and my mom, like that wasn't always the best. And maybe some of you guys, you can like say, yeah, that's me too. But that part wasn't fun. And we would go on these month-long vacations up to Minnesota, which I know sounds really boring to most people. But we have a cabin and a bunch of land up there. And most of my cousins are girls, so like I would literally be like the only guy there. And that was like not fun growing up. Every July we would be up there. And so that part like wasn't bad, but what I can say is like everyone's family is unique, right? Like the things that your family does, the things that your family has done is going to probably be different than what my family does. What makes the makeup of my family is different than the makeup of your family. The way my family acts in certain situations is going to be different than the way your family acts in certain situations. But one thing I do know is that we all go through different times with our family, and some of the things that you may feel when you think of your family is maybe frustration. Maybe you get really frustrated at your stepmom for the way she talks to you. Maybe you get a little annoyed by like your brother and the way he's like always just making fun of you or picking on you. You're just like, be quiet, like he's always in your face. Maybe there's a little bit of chaos, like everyone's always fighting, or like you just never know what's going to happen because like it's just like boom, 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 boom. So maybe like those are some of your feelings. And for some of you, family means like everything, like it's awesome, like it's a happy place. But that's not to say that like bad things don't happen sometimes. Like we all have certain situations with our family that aren't always the best, that aren't always what we wanted. Because again, family all looks different. They're all unique. But there's one thing that I can say, and everyone can agree: family is complicated, especially when you get into extended family. So not just like mom and dad. I'm talking about like your aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, and then you get step parents, half brothers, sisters, and stuff like that. Like family gets super complicated really, really quick. And one thing I do know is when it gets complicated, disaster sometimes happens. Like sometimes things out of your control just end up happening. And there's something that happens to each and every one of us when those things do happen. We kind of find our role. These roles are not given to us. They're just a role that we naturally find. And you even have these roles in your friend groups as well. And so for some of you, I'll just give you some examples. For some of you, you're the mediator. When there starts being a little bit of fighting or something, like you want to find peace. You want peace among your family. And then for other of you, you're the avoider. Like when you see something, you're like, whoa, you're trying to get away from it. You're trying to avoid it. Like you just go to your room. Like you don't want to be a part of whatever drama, whatever's going on. And then some of you, and I really do identify with you, you're the instigator. You like to like stir the pot. You like to aggravate people. You like to do things like that. And I'd be lying if I said I don't instigate. I still instigate. I instigate with my friends, my family, all the time. It's not a good thing, but it's not a bad thing. It just depends how you're doing it. But yeah, so some of you might be an instigator. Then some of you, which I cannot identify with, you're the smart one. Like people just come to you. They know you got the answers. You got the brains in the family. That was not me. And then lastly, from our examples, you are the rule follower. Like you follow things to the T. If mom and dad say you need to be home at 9 o'clock, you're home at 8:59. Like can't be a minute late. Like you are there. And then some of you, you don't know what a rule is and you never followed them anyway. But we could keep going through these lists. I mean, I guess the last one would be the comedian. Like it doesn't matter what's going on. You're going to make it funny. You're going to make it joke about it. If it's good or bad, like everyone just knows that they can go to you because it's going to be funny. But again, we could do this for like a day and a half. We could just go over all these roles, but there's so many, and we all have them. Some of you already identified with one of these that I kind of gave, and some of you, you're like, I kind of feel like I'm a little bit of both. It's okay, because again, there's plenty of them. And the thing that's cool about these roles is like, again, they weren't given to you, but you may have found that simply just because of the way your family is. Maybe it's because you're like the youngest. Maybe it's because you're the middle child. Or maybe it's because you're the oldest. I know, since I'm the oldest, I know that I'm like the practice child. Anyone the oldest? Anyone the oldest in your family? Anyone know what I'm talking about, being the practice child? That means like mom and dad, when I turned 13, said, you know what? I think a good bedtime would be like 8 o'clock. And then my sister, when she turns 5, they're like, I think a good bedtime at 13 would be 2 in the morning. I don't know if any of you can identify, like literally anything. Like if I had this rule, my youngest sister had a completely crazy wild rule compared to what I had. Like, my parents were like, you gotta be home at this time, and then her, it's like, oh, she'll come home eventually. It's like, what? I don't know. That's just something I can identify with. But then maybe if you're the middle child, maybe you feel left out. Maybe if you're the youngest, you don't realize it, but you're spoiled. Just saying, because I'm the oldest and I see it all the time. But anyway, it's different for each and every one of us. And it gets even more complicated when we start looking at, like, maybe you have step siblings, step parents. Maybe you live with a grandparent. Maybe you live with an aunt or uncle. All that stuff changes and just complicates all these different things. But I know one other twist that can happen when it comes to family, and that's faith. And I recognize not all of you would say that you're a believer in here, and that's okay. We're just glad that you're here. We hope that you discover Christ, but we're just glad that you're here to listen. And for some of you, when it comes to your faith and your family, you don't really know how that mixes, because sometimes it feels like faith and family don't exactly mix well. And what I'm trying to say is, like, maybe you feel confused because you're not sure if you're supposed to live out your faith with your family. Maybe you're the only Christian in your household. And maybe that's kind of weird because you don't want to offend mom or dad or your sister or brother. You don't want to offend someone, so you're always like kind of guarding yourself. Or maybe your mom and stepdad expect you to act a certain way because you are a Christian, and so they hold you to that standard. And so they're always calling you out and saying, hey, that's not what a Christian's supposed to do. So it kind of puts you on a pedestal. Or maybe the adults in your household use church as kind of like a punishment. There's like, oh, you didn't do that right? You need to get back in church. Maybe that's why you're here tonight. It's because maybe you're in trouble. Maybe you did something. I hope that's not the reason, but that might be the reason. Maybe for some of you, your faith is starting to look a little different than the people you live with. You don't want to offend anyone by disagreeing with them, but maybe they're not taking this whole thing as seriously as you are. Or maybe they're taking it way more serious than you are currently. Again, it can be so different. And faith has been a part of family for a while. And when you look at family, if you're not sure it's working or whatnot, faith sometimes can really complicate, because what one family member believes and what you believe can be so different. And maybe they don't like that way, and so it can start a fight or something. And it can just keep complicating things. And for a lot of us, it feels like faith is one thing and family's another, and they feel totally separate. But what I'm hoping we can get to tonight is that's not the case, and we're going to look into that. And so I want to look at a passage today from the book of John. And this is where Jesus is with his closest friends. He gathers them all together. They don't know this yet, but this is going to be the last time they get to share a meal together, the last time they're going to get to spend some quality time. They don't know the stuff that's fixing to happen. He hasn't told them just quite yet. And so they're all gathered in this room. And so they're in this final room. And so this is what it says in John 13:1. It was just before the Passover festival. Jesus knew that the hour had come for him to leave this world and go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. And just like you love your complicated family, like this was like Jesus' family. He'd been traveling with these guys for 3 years. They literally went everywhere. They ate everywhere together. Like they did everything together. So for all intents and purposes, they were a family unit. Like they were together all the time. And again, he's fixing to do something that's kind of crazy, because he knows his time's coming to an end. And so let's continue in verse 3 and 5. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and that he had come from God and was returning to God. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. And if you think that sounds awkward now, it would have been super awkward back then. Like, how many of you wear Chacos? We know Tucker. Yeah, there's a bunch. There's a crew of you. Probably this also works for Chacos. I mean, not Chacos, Crocs, but mostly Chacos. Like, if you wear those all day, you go like on a hike, you're like outside, like your feet look kind of gross afterwards. Do we agree with that? Like your feet look a little dirty. So now imagine living in a time where tennis shoes weren't really a thing, and it wasn't very uncommon for people to throw their wastewater. I'll let you guys figure what wastewater is, out into like the street and stuff. And so you're traveling through dry desert and stuff. Your feet at the end of the day, they were disgusting, right? And so when you went somewhere, it was expected your feet were to get washed. But the person who usually washed this would have been a servant, one of the lowly of low people in that household. But here in this instance, Jesus, who all these disciples know is God's son, they see him get down and wash their feet. And again, if these feet are disgusting, right? Like these are some nasty feet. He gets down on his hands and knees and he starts cleaning his disciples' feet. He gets down there and he's washing them. So that would have been pretty awkward for them. nobody would have been like, oh yeah, Jesus, you deserve to wash my feet. Yeah, wash that. Yeah, you missed something. That they weren't like that at all. Like this would have been a very humbling experience for them and even for Jesus in the sense that he's taken the time. But what he is showing is that he's showing, man, he loves them. And in this time, you know what Jesus knows? And he's fixing to tell them, you know what he knows? He knows that one of the guys that he's washing feet right now, he's fixing to betray him. He's fixing to set him up, setting everything up for him to get crucified. But he was washing that guy's feet, Judas. He also knows one of his closest friends, Peter, is fixing to deny him 3 times. Do you know what he still does? He still washes his feet. And I'll say this, if I was there, it'd probably been really, really easy for me to go, not you and not you. But here's the other thing. It's not just those 2 guys. You know what the rest of them are going to do when he gets arrested and everything? They're going to go hide. They're going to run. They're going to act like, you can't find us. They're going to act like we don't know him because they don't want to be like identified as the disciples. Because when he gets put up on in trial and everything, they don't want to be a part of that. But he washes all their feet because Jesus knows all that's fixing to go down. And so what we see in that moment is how much love he's giving towards his disciples. And so he says this in verse 34 and 35. A new command I give you, love one another as I have loved you, so must love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another. And so Jesus is saying, you remember what I just did for you? Remember how I just got on my hands and knees and I cleaned your feet? Remember how I just did that? Like, that was me showing that I love you. Like, he just took the time to wash feet. Anyone here enjoy washing feet? Don't raise your hand. That's gross. Like, that's nasty. Like, maybe one of you in here is like, I want to work at a nail salon and clean people's feet. And that's fine. I just don't want to know about it. But that's cool. That's cool. Like, there's money out there for that. But overall, most of us, like, that's not our thing. Like, we're not like, oh man, I want to wash everyone's feet. That would be really cool. But like Jesus, that's what he does that night. Not every day. Like, I don't want to sound like Jesus was a weirdo. He wasn't. But that night he says, man, I'm going to wash my disciples' feet. I want to let them know that I love them. Even though I know that they're going to betray me, even though they're going to leave me, they're going to deny me, I'm still going to take the time to wash their feet. And you know, how will people know that you're a follower of Jesus? What will show the people closest to you that you follow God? What will the people around you tell something about your faith? You know what that simple word is love. Love. If you just take the time to show love to everyone around you, including your family, right? If you take the time to love. And this seems like something Jesus would say, right? But when you think about the fact that he said it after he just washed their feet, makes it extraordinary. They had no idea just how loving that act was. Jesus knew that what they were going to do, how they're going to betray him. And the thing is like, I just can't wrap my mind around that. I couldn't wrap my mind washing these guys' feet, knowing what they're fixing to do to him. Imagine when you feel like one of your friends let you down, but you still love them anyway. Like you still go out of your way to do something kind for them. Imagine doing that. But I don't think any of you have been set up so that you would potentially get killed, which Jesus does get crucified, right? I don't think any of that's never happened to you. But Jesus knows that's what's going to happen. He knows he's fixing to get whipped, but he still takes the time to wash their feet. And what I love about love is when we love your friends, your teachers, strangers around us, even the family in your faith, you know what they'll know? In the middle of kindness that's unappreciated, misunderstood, you can still show them love. In the middle of betrayal, you can still show them love. In the middle of denial, you can still show love. In the middle of unfairness, you can still show them love. You know why? Because that's what Jesus did in that moment. He showed love to those gentlemen. He didn't say, not today or not you, I'll just wash your feet. He washed all their feet. He showed them love. Demonstrating love in difficulty changes you. It makes you more like Christ, and that should be the goal for all of us. God wants to use our family, the good and the bad, as something that grows our ability to love. Why? Because love is what matters most. That's everything. Showing love, that is what God wants us to do. That's what Jesus demonstrates in this moment. And it's really what Jesus demonstrated over and over again with multiple people. Just read the Gospels. He does that over and over. He loves those around him. He shows that to them. He's always loving those around. So what does it look like to love in the middle of a complicated family situation? Well, the Apostle Paul, he writes about that. And if you're familiar with 1 Corinthians 13, this is kind of like this whole right here, this is what we're fixing to read. This is all about love. This is the love chapter. So this is what it says in 13:4-7. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it's not proud, it does not dishonor others, it's not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. And if we were to ask Jesus or Paul what faith would look like in complicated families, man, they would say, go read that verse. Like, you got to love in all those situations, which, I mean, those situations, those are some tough situations to love in. But love doesn't give up in any of those situations. Love is not proud, it's not boastful. Love, it does not keep a record of the wrongdoings. It doesn't say, I would love you, but mom, you remember what you did? Or sister, do you remember what you did? It doesn't do that. It doesn't keep a record. Love is just so pure. It always protects, it always trusts, it always hopes, it always perseveres. So in other words, if you want your faith to help your family, then show as much love as you can. It never fails. And think of it this way, and this is really our bottom line for today. This is what I hope that you take away. This is what I hope that you think about this week. When it comes to your faith and your family, love matters most. That's what's important when it comes to all that. When it comes to your faith and your family, love matters most. If we can remember that when it comes to our family, like, you are demonstrating Christ every time when you can demonstrate love within your family. In the hard times, the good times, the in-between times, if you can continue demonstrating love, that's what matters most. And trying to love this way can seem overwhelming, so here's a good way to start. And so we're going to kind of look at some different things. Which one of these applications of love stands out to you? Which one do you need to focus on bringing? Is it kindness? Is it being more patient? Maybe it's that little sibling you need to be more patient with. Or maybe it's being slow to anger. Like, maybe some of you are quick to get upset. You know what I'm talking about? And these things don't make you a doormat. They allow you to be a demonstration for God. I think a lot of people confuse that. They think that if I'm always being loved, I'm just a doormat. People can just walk all over me. They can do whatever they want. That's not the purpose of this. It's not just so people can just treat you poorly. That's not the purpose of this. It's just to demonstrate Christ's love. It's just to be loving. And so pick one of these things and ask God to give you the power to start demonstrating with your family. It could mean that you start being more patient with your parents. Maybe you stop rolling your eyes when your dad tells you to do something. Again, maybe it means you can be more kind to your siblings. You know, give them the time of day. Maybe it could mean not being arrogant when you think you know everything, which I can attest to that. Like, you think you know everything, but you don't. Just be okay with that. Maybe you could mean celebrating and affirming the things that are good in your siblings, your parents' life, instead of just being like, well, I could have done that better, or what about me? What if you took the time to actually celebrate them? Oh, and lastly, it could mean not being rude to your stepmom or to your stepdad. Like, maybe just taking the time to actually have a civil conversation and not just get mad because they looked at you. Maybe that's what that could be for you. And even if you wouldn't call yourself a church person or a Jesus follower, you can still show love, right? Like, showing love is just part of, honestly, being a decent human being. Like, you don't have to be a Christian to show love to people. And love is not just like, oh, I love him, oh, I love her. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, like, just loving people in general. Not like, that's my boyfriend, that's my girlfriend. Like, just loving, being kind, being there for others. That's what that means. Like, we can all do that. Anyone. If you're a Christ follower, you most certainly should be doing that. Like, you owe that to God. Like, you have to show love. Because you're not doing that, you're not being a great example of Christ to anyone if you're not being loving to those around you. And I realize this sounds nice to hear, and I know it's not easy, especially within a family, and there's no way that I can address every complicated situation in here, because like I said, each and every one of our families is completely unique, completely different, and the situations that you're in are completely different from the situations that I'm in. But what I do know is that we can all take some time to love our families, to be love in our families. We can all do that. And you know, what I hope that we can do is we can go to our small groups here in a few minutes and we can go through this, and what does that look like? What does it look like this week for me as an individual to show love in my family? Like, what attribute, like, what aspects of love can I show this week to my family? And it's gonna be different for all of you. There's not a right answer per se that everyone should choose. Like, all of us are different, and we should all be looking for that. So I know it seems impossible, but imagine if your family could actually be better than they are right now. Imagine if your faith could actually grow because of the way that you are loving your family. Imagine that. Imagine that you could be helping your family take steps in the right direction. Because when you combine your family and love, that's what matters most, is love. When you can combine those two things. So when we can combine our family and faith, and then show love, like that is what's going to show. So I'm going to pray, and right after I'm done praying, stay right here because we're going to break into our small groups, and I'm going to tell you guys where to go. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for all of us to be here tonight, Lord. Man, it is so good to be with these students and these leaders again, Lord. It has been too long since we've all been gathered here together, and just thank you again for just allowing us this time, and just keep us safe, help us all make wise decisions as we continue to go through our week. Be with these students and leaders as they go to work and to school. And just help us to be a light in our family. Help us to show love this week to our parents, to our siblings, to our caretakers. Just allow us to be more like you. And in Jesus' name I pray, amen. All right, so we're going to break down small groups. So if you are a 9th grade boy, if you are a 9th grade, and leaders, you're